I love to see that they got this victory royale. So many points racked up. And I thought for like a moment, I was like, okay, we've got height, things looking good. We ain't got eliminations. I said, Zeke, hold on. Look at the points now. Off of a single game, double-digit elims coming out from the trio, and now holding down the #1 spot. Viv, this is looking good. Game number 2, we started to get crazy. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I am a little bit worried, right? The game plan is coming to fruition, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit worried as well. 6th place, Pablo Wingo, Chino, and Fredoxy winning the off-spawn in game number 2. Of course, going down the first game, getting the opportunity to go ahead and showcase exactly what they can do. And Kelly, this was kind of like, you know, after major number 3, EU, they kind of hit the pause button, right? They showed up on the stage, and then they hit the play button again. They were like, listen, we know what the game plan is. Run at people and get the elims.
Oh my gosh, what was it? By zone 3, they had 8 eliminations. It was absolutely crazy watching what they can do when they do win that off-spawn fight. But what I want to see now, though, is them transition that into the perfect end game. And you saw they had the idea. They wanted to potentially go for height. It didn't work out. They dropped down, and then they were still able to carry themselves. And that really is what matters. Not just being able to kind of recover from a failed height steal, but also recover from a failed game 1.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Zeke, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be a little bit of a critic here, right? Levin kind of made a great point when he was just up here. He was like, listen, like, why are you guys kind of looking up at height, right? You would imagine that it was meant to be like an EU team up here. Of course, that wasn't the case in game number 1, but in game number 2, it was. I'm kind of questioning like the decision from Fredoxy's trio to kind of go up there and steal the high ground, right? Levin kind of talked about it. You kind of expect a great EU team to be about the high ground. You would imagine that Fredoxy would have thought like, hey, listen, Queasy's probably got the high ground. Why would you just send yourselves kind of right in their firing line and kind of risk that when they had so many builds to work with? They could have just worked the mid ground.
I think they were testing the waters a little bit. It's still just game number 2. There's a lot of potential to possibly see what high ground is going to be like. And in game number 1, high ground was a little bit easier to take. But that was when Queasy was not on high ground. But looking up on the high right now, of course, we have to look at Pablo Wingo, Fredoxy, and Chino just a little bit more into that game. Look at this. We're in zone 8, and they already have 11 eliminations, sticking to the low ground because that's where all of the players are going to be. That's where everyone drops down when they're getting a little weak, a little low, and that's where they can clean everything up.
Terrifying stuff. Man, you know something else I wanted to call out? Another trio that's performing insanely well in 4th place. And, you know, guys, we actually got to see them a lot in major number 3. It's King Phaser, PH Zin showing up on a global stage. We already saw them show up in NA in major number 3. They said, all right, this is practice. Now on a global stage after game number 2, 4th place. They are looking to continue this run. I mean, they are proving to be pretty menacing here on land.
Yeah, I mean, it's super, super impressive. Again, they're a trio alive, right? I kind of talked to Levin about this, is that they do such a good job right now of getting around to like 10th place as a trio. Kind of a little bit out of character for them, because usually when one of them goes down, all of them go down at the same time. But no, a little bit of a clutch here from King and PH Zin. Incredible stuff, right? Maybe adapting to the lobby, being like, hey, listen, we can't just kind of play this game where it's trio or nothing. Let's play for ourselves a little bit after things start to look a little bad. 4th place right now is so good.
I feel like that really speaks to what they learned from North American Central. That's something that we commonly see. A lot of these duo solo clutches in a trios competition is kind of NA's bread and butter. And so for King to come here, learn a little bit, and also perform very well against the big names at NA, I think that they have brought that in just tenfold for the Globals competition.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd love to remember we got to interview him kind of the sort of show, right? And, you know, in summation, he was basically like, look, I wanted to go to NA, I wanted experience. And to your point, taking that experience and immediately the next step is the hardest competition. And they're like, hey, we went out, we learned, and now look at the fruits of our labor. Like, that is so incredible to see. Guys, this is just the first 2 games of the competition. This is just the first 2 games. What are we hoping to maybe see in game number 3? So, you know, think about like what, again, the duality, right? Game 1, Tayson's roaming around the map. Game 2, Fredoxy's, you know, are we maybe hoping to see more of this back and forth?
You know what I want to see if we're talking about back and forth, and coming from North America, I'm going to be a little bit biased. I want to see Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual, as well as Acorn, Agers, and Poyo make it to an end game. I want to see this rivalry that we've been building up for the last year. And again, these first 2 games, Vivid, we still have so much more, and we can expect out of those 2 trios much more to come.
Yeah, I mean, kind of strange game from Acorn's trio there. We almost never see them below Surge, and Surge was definitely an impact from their game right there. And instantly, you know, again, we talked about it after game number 1. We were like, hey, listen, like the plan seemed like it would have worked if they would have just went ahead and third-party the Dystopia City fight. We didn't see them third-party the fight at all this game, right? So maybe instantly kind of veering away from that because it didn't work in game number 1. I don't know where they went on the map, but not feeling confident right now.
Man, dude, I want to keep talking about so much that we saw in that game. So much to unpack, but you heard that battle bus horn. It is that time. Once again, game number 3 is here and ready for us. What's going to happen? Let's find out right now.
Here we go. Game number 3 is among us, and so much is going down around the map. It's kind of hard to keep focused. You got the Rangers ruin off fight 1-1. You got the triple contested, or even now a duo contested Dystopia City. You got drop spot roulette being played out as well, and you got Queasy's team and Kanata's team at the top of the leaderboard.
But we just saw Fortnite and Tayson on the big screen here in Lyon, and they are going back to back to back with these off-spawn contests. Both of these teams wishing each other good luck in those pre-game player interviews, but for Noxy, he's looking to make that first touchdown. Tayson actually going to be the first man to pick up a weapon. He's looking to see if he can close in on an initial knock. Gino already stripped of half of his HP. Tayson, though, with the leverage of the high ground, they have forced Pablo, Chino, and Fradoxy to be stuck dealing with the swarm. They are all tunneled inside of the same staircase. Rangers Ruin is getting desperate right now for Gino. He's only got 4 HP to work with, but Atris, he's actually going to be the first one fully eliminated. Gino still holding it down, delaying, buying enough time for Doxy with the separate angle approach. But for Doxy, he's got to finalize on this. They have to capitalize on this moment, and they do. Dame strike yet again here in France, but no, it's been ruined. Scarpa, Gazetta, and Way immediately getting involved.
This is what we were talking about. Maybe 2 games will play out as normal, but things are looking a little shaken up as Gabzetta. They're trying to take advantage of this fight that has gone 1-1. Now it's looking like Fradoxy is in trouble. Tino, he's the one with the good loadout. He's the one that has to try to figure out a way to make a play as Fradoxy just trying to loot up, get some materials. They realize even with Pablo going down, they have to start to think about reboot card. When do we get it back? And they're not the only team. There's another team that's starting to look in this direction for Gabzetta, Scarpa, and Way. They got what they came for, and that's position over Rangers Ruin.
The pain right now for Chino and Fradoxy is that Chino is just stuck. Fradoxy had to create a little bit of space. He had to disengage. He had 0 mats. He knew he could no longer stay involved in this fight. But this is definitely going to put a damper on their overall game strategy because they're just going to have to wait it out. Gabzetta, Way, and Scarpa, they're also going to reap all the benefits of taking Rangers Ruin for themselves.
See if that one continues to play out. We'll take a close eye on that one. But this one, Dystopia City, where we thought it was a triple contested fight. Cold, Ritual, and Peterbot go back to something they did early on in game 1. They landed towards the outside, but they do not know. Tinka and his entire trio is right above from OCE waiting for things to break out. But a triple contested, they're all landing towards the launch pad. Rise is the one that's getting good damage onto Vico, and that's the first knock. Flixie's taking some damage as well. Luckily for him, he has a momentary escape.
Drise, Yuma, and Koyota just putting on the burners right now. Flixie was trying to see if he could provide a little bit of coverage, but 1 versus 3, and he's not going to get the chance to escape. Asia coming out on top in game 3.
What is this? It might be a Brazilian thing, you know what I'm saying? Because both of the teams that qualified out of Brazil, or at least 2 of the 3, are now made their way over towards Rangers Ruin. Luckily for Fradoxy and Chino, though, they were able to get on out. So this is just a whole different mix-up that I didn't expect in a million years.
This is the Fradoxy effect right now. At Rangers Ruin, everyone is just crouching, creeping up on each other. But Scarpa gonna be some of the first to open up some big shots. Still not feeling comfortable just yet, diving straight into the heart of the action here. But Scarpa, they recognize King. He might be trying to make this flank approach. He could be an isolated member. PH Zin, though, still going to be enough of a buffer zone here. And Gabzetta, Scarpa, Way, they've decided, you know what? You guys can have it. We're out of here.
Yeah, we got to figure it out. This wasn't even our drop spot. You guys can take it. Now King Phaser, PH in. They're actually choosing to kind of rotate away from Rangers Ruin, and that's a conscientious decision. Go for eliminations, go for points, go for Storm Surge, instead of sitting back, not knowing if that other team is still alive, and going for XP. These are the two different paths, and they're taking this one.
Talk about a silver lining, though, for Prodoxy and Chino. They're left all alone at Rangers Room with Brazil deciding for that early departure, but Peterbot, Ritual, Cold, they've struggled to really find a home with their initial drops just because they've been trying to go all around the map. And yet again, lobby number 3, we are seeing them try a slightly different approach here, but the result is still all the same currently, Jacob. They're at Dystopia City, and they're waiting to see when they're going to be able to try and take advantage of this contested area. But Pinka, Kazi, Aspect, they're also just trailing so close behind. It's making it really difficult for Peterbot, Gold, and Ritual to actually take advantage of vulturing some of the leftovers here at Dystopia.
And I just got my eyes glued to the mini-map right now, and I'm counting 1, 2, 3 different teams. But wait, one of them's Kazi, Tika, and Aspect. So I'm thinking right now, where is Epic? Well, Victor V and Paper. Maybe an early battle between Tay and the full trio is Swizzy, Merstash. 2 different bases towards the sky, and with the zone pulling a whole different direction this game than the previous 2, it looks like it's pulling south, maybe a western lean. Swizzy and Merstash and Queasy, they have the luxury of waiting for all these teams from the north to rotate down into them, and that means easy surge for the first place team.
And Merstash wasting absolutely 0 time alongside Swizzy, blocking in some of these early surge tags. A little bit of hide and seek, but it's going to be Merstash coming out on top yet again. Goofy knocked, but you have to remember, despite Goofy being knocked, there's no real opportunity provided there for Queasy's team to follow up with a heavy key approach. So we're going to shift a little bit of the attention focus. Striker needed to watch his back, but he's still got Tisco maybe to try and bring things up into fruition, but Salco Arc School, they pose too much of a threat here, and Tisco, he'll be eliminated. That's just an easy cleanup.
Yeah, for a team, you said it yourself, Arc is playing fantastic as an individual the entirety of the week leading up to this, taking 1v1s against anybody who's taking that challenge, and now something coming from him, NA West. This could be a big make or break moment for his entire Fortnite career. As Reed, Cooper, Curly, same position we saw them in that last game, just at the edge of the zone. They're just trying to get as much Storm Surge as possible. Not sure who that is on the other side. Baka's team, Mansour's team, those are the 2 possibilities it could be.
There's one thing that Peterbot's certainly got intentions leaning towards. It's maybe trying to key Marias, Vanya, and Pixie, but underneath, does he even know? Does he even realize? Victor V, Paper, and Epic Whale, they've decided maybe we should just bring the battle straight to Peterbot, Gold, and Ritual. Why are we the ones waiting to see whether or not they're going to stick around and hover inside of Dystopia City? Still, Epic Whale, not necessarily primed with that loadout for fighting. And for that reason, and probably knowing that there's another team in that area, it's just best not to take that fight.
Yeah, it's just not easy to get the loadout that you want, especially when you're triple contested. And then a 4th team makes their way on over. So I think they made kind of the heads-up play to focus on staying alive, prioritizing position, realizing we can get a loadout, we can get Storm Surge elsewhere. Visuals, Braids, and a Minish. Business as usual for them. They land over towards Foxy. I think as soon as they realized the zone was pulling in their favor, they immediately start to set up their own surge base. And this is kind of a little bit of different kind of pacing of the game that we're seeing in game number 3 here. Instead of the all-out aggression, it looks like they're kind of playing more to what a lot of teams have practiced, which is storm surge bases.
Yeah, but Cooper finding that first knock just gave the green light for Curly Ree and himself to actually find those additional eliminations. That's some big surge that they are getting online super early. And a handful of teams that have managed to have some success with these surge bases. But we have seen so many interventions, so many other teams, and that's something that Chad, Reason, and Mr. Savage don't take lightly. They're gonna spend a little bit of extended time inside of these early storm picks. They don't mind it, and it's giving them a good idea of which direction they actually want to head, especially when you're scouting out some of those surge bases in the distance. They know there's going to be teams looking to try and hold on edge of zone.
Yeah, and then kind of add in the fact that neither one of these two games that we've had so far has went down to heal off. So it's kind of giving you more and more of that confidence, like, hey, I can stay a little bit longer in towards zone. I can try to figure out Storm Surge, especially if you're uncontested like they are. You can always go back for those extra heals. As OXR HQ, just as busy as we last left it. Pixie, Marius, and Vanya, they kind of got a huge base, basically a 3-room apartment. Everybody gets their own bathroom. They're just kind of replenishing a lot of those builds that they used to get there. You see the extra heals in and outside of their base, and they're just a hop, skip, and a throw away from the actual zone. The only thing that we do not know yet, Taco, is do they see Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold? Do they know that team is there?
They're likely pretty aware that there's somebody lurking. Whether they know that it's Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual directly, that'll have to be answered later on. But Victor B, Epic Whale, Paper, they diverted that initial path, and they find themselves directly underneath Reed, Curly, and Cooper, trying to see if they can apply some pressure, get a little bit of damage going. But Victor B gonna get the worst end of that trade out. And Epic Whale still looking to provide a little bit of coverage. They've just infiltrated the base that Reed, Cooper, and Curly once held.
Yeah, I like the decision, though, for Reed, Cooper, Curly. They saw the zone kind of pull towards the south, a little bit further from where they're at. They say, hey, we got to focus on this. Agers, Acorn, Poyo, this time around, they're getting to play their side of the overall map. We're seeing it pulling towards the south, but Demon's Debris kind of just on the outskirts inside of the zone. So they're watching and seeing every team that rotates on over from that mountain. You got to think Alex and Anon resigned. They're towards the south of that mountain. Koyota, Rise, Yuma, they landed over at Canyon. So they're just trying to take advantage of every team that might not be quick to the punch.
But it's still crazy to see that quick stat for Acorn's team, that they didn't take a single tick of surge all throughout the regular season majors. But here on the global level, they have been struggling back-to-back matches, finding a good grasp of that surge damage threshold. Right now, Game 3 though, halfway point technically speaking for day one. They had the opportunity. We just saw what Prodoxy, Pablo, and Chino were able to accomplish in that last lobby. When you're able to secure over 80 points in a singular match, you're still always in the running.
Yeah, on pace. Outside of maybe getting that victory royale where you do get the 9 extra points going from second to first place. So all you need, you know, a win, but 10 eliminations, that's about a 105 game. Close the gap in an instant. We already saw that out of a few teams so far. Pixie, Marius, and Vanya, they're just rotating all around. You saw them go from OXR HQ. They took that massive launch pad with the Flowberry Fizz to take over the Shining Span Bridge, prioritizing their rotation. Not really worrying about anybody else that's there, as Victor V, Epic, they're still here, but Cold is the one that's down. So Peterbot and Ritual got the pressure on their shoulders.
Tragedy there for Pablo as he's fully cleaned up too. So that's gonna be a wipeout for Prodoxy's team. They'll have to sit and deliberate, figure out what they want to do for Game 4 instead. But Ritual and Peterbot still trying to work side by side. The problem is they are so split from each other, Jacob. The moment that Iamzo, Clicks, or Higgs might realize, hey, there's a primed up opportunity here to just outright key, but doesn't seem as if they're aware of that situation just yet.
And already we saw Cooper, Reed, and Curly try to rotate on out. But now they're running into a whole nother team, and Cooper's gonna be the first one dropped. That's Snowy. Todd is still alive. Even though they do lose one, they have a numbers advantage. They can play for the revive, and I think Reed might know that just a little bit, trying to go for pressure underneath, breaking through the walls. The piece control does not go over. They do a quick peek. Both teams kind of missing those shots, though. Reed has to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. They are inside of the zone, so in theory, Taco, Ryu, Snowy, and Todd have no reason to rotate out.
That little bit of a whiff, though, from Reed might come back to haunt him here because Todd, Snowy, and Ryu in that 3 versus 1. This is so optimal for them to continue to apply steady pressure. They recognize Reed has no other choice except to try and live, to try and escape, and they are just ripping him apart from the sky. Every single crash pad, sure, it's taking them one step further, but fortunately for Reed, Marius, Pixie, and Vanya provide a little bit of that buffer zone. They're gonna force Sod and Ryu back, but Reed, he is still pinned down, stuck along the beach face underneath Shining Span.
Yeah, it's almost you wonder, like, does he even have a singular reboot card, let alone two? He really had no choice but to disengage out of there because they will try to push a solo in that situation. But Malibuca walks, pings, 25 points through 2 games so far. Couple teams need to go down, about 7. You can start getting some of those placement points. But for now, they're just kind of focusing on one thing and one thing only, Storm Surge. That's going to open up the world in terms of flexibility the later this game goes on.
And this time, Malibuca's team not being third-partied now means that they've got a little bit more of that luxury room to try and get their Surge locked in, going up against Yapko and Panzer in a separate Surge base. Good ways across from them. Yuma, Koyota, and Grise, though, we saw the success they finally had with taking care of Veno's team, and now the question becomes, can we see a Ferdoxy Tayson type of performance? Can they convert this to a strong endgame finish?
Hey, you know the entire region usually kind of has some tricks underneath their sleeve that they save for big moments just like this. Swizzy, Queasy, Merstad, they're just making their way on over towards that bunker. They're one of the few teams in the lobby because they're uncontested at the Hive. They get that instant OXRHQ rank, and that is what they're able to use to kind of rotate on over to the vault and get some sort of exotic. You already see it's going to be the AR in Swizzy's inventory. And if you guys don't know, every shot you land with that AR, the next one just deals more and more damage. And putting it in Swizzy's hand, honestly, is very, very scary for the rest of the lobby.
And looted and booted, that is for sure. Merstash, Swizzy, Queasy, they've got so much time to work with in comparison to a lot of these other teams that are likely feeling a bit more pressured, a bit more pushed into trying to create, manifest some sort of surge damage just to be able to find the same type of rotates. But Queasy, we'll have to see what he gets up to later on, because we know they love to look for height, and they are setting up very early on, Jacob, strong loadouts to take over.
A tough situation, depending on where the zone continues to go for a lot of these teams towards the south. They're trying to make this part of the map their home base and kind of wait for a lot of the teams towards the north, towards the west to start to try and rotate in. Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid, almost 700 damage above the threshold. Now they're going to surpass that with a couple shots being landed. And they're just peeking through the cone right now. They already are in zone. They're just trying to figure out how many teams are around them, what teams are there as well, and what teams are rotating in. Ritual, Cold, Peterbot, that's going to be one that they focus on for a quick and short moment, landing some damage on the Ritual, forcing them down further towards their glide, just kind of making sure they can't get priority position.
The real trick in a set lobby like this, though, is finding those shots, but not receiving any in return. Peterbot, Ritual, Cold, though, they got to take this fight up against Tate and Rajito. They need a recovery point. They've managed to bring Cold back off the reboot, but this is a fight that they're going to have to optimally turn into their favor. It's a little bit scattered right now, but they're just so low on that surge. They don't have any other
what's
option.
going on?
To keep trying to apply pressure, but they might not get the chance. The surge is going to take
What's
care of them.
going on?
Rajito, just an easy come up.
Hit.
I am at a loss for words. After
This is
3
the
games
box.
so
Peak,
far,
peak.
they have failed to place inside of the
Wow.
top 17. That's where those placement points begin. They are in 31st place on the leaderboard, and it can only get worse if any of those 2 teams below them are still alive. But from the bottom side to the top side, Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstash. That's going to be one thing, because they see every single player that goes down. They see every single trio that gets eliminated. And when you see them go down for Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstash, even Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs, that's got to be a confidence boost.
Everybody just looking like a rags to riches comparison from what we just witnessed. But Yamzo, Clix, Hibbs, they're still trying to take advantage of their convenient positioning here. They're spraying all of these teams that are just stuck on the congestion inside that edge of zone. Teams that are fighting to try and lock in a little bit more surge. And Phaser, he is going to fall. Yamzo, a little bit too accurate, and Clix just still continuing steady pressure application. These teams are not able to escape.
Yeah, I think they saw it at the corner of the eye, and now they're not going down. A whole nother team, but they know if they can continue to focus in that direction, they can probably try to get the wipe. But on high ground, we're finally getting that peak. Pollo, Agers, and Acorn, but they're 69 damage below the threshold, which is surprising because we're at the Kappa factory towards the south side of the map. They have been granted the zone majority of this game, but just unable to really find the shots to put it to use, and they're falling further and further below.
They gotta be real careful. Team sitting inside the building, and Agers just doesn't care. Mountain gonna be immediately eliminated. Just a max pop shot. Pollo now looking to follow suit here. They are feeling so confident. They know they got Goofy locked in their sights, and Agers finds the next elimination. There's their surge at last.
Locked and loaded, ready to go. And this is a team right here, right? When you got Pollo on this team, when you got Agers on this team, Acorn, debatably one of the best IGLs in Fortnite, them going down early, that's like poking the bear. That's like poking the bear in the wilderness. Now something I would never do, and now they're here in this game, and they're out for redemption.
The problem right now that I'm thinking about, Jacob, is Queasy loves to look for height right around this period, right around that 8th zone time frame. But with Acorn now looking much healthier and a mastermind IGL in his own right, you have to anticipate that there's going to be a very strong challenge for height between those two teams. And that's not even considering other trios in the lobby like Vanya, Marius, Pixie, all of these experienced veterans that know full well what type of potential high ground holds, especially with the zones falling over this part of the map. It is a very strong pinpoint location. So many teams are going to have to burn through materials in those lower layers.
Yeah, and you can kind of see in the minimap, majority of the teams, even with the zone currently opening up, are like on that 50, where the half and half actually was. And even further south, nobody really wanted to make that move because you know as well as I do, inadvertently with the crash pads, Flowberry Fizz, it just makes you an open target. A Savage Chat reads, and they're getting a little bit more aggressive, trying to take advantage of Marum, Ryu. They're underneath as well. I think Wixie might still be alive. Nope, saw it in the feed. Queasy's gonna take him down, so Savage Chat reason, even with 2 eliminations, almost 900 damage above the threshold. They're feeling good.
Agers, Pollo, Acorn, depending on which direction they head next. I was going to say they might need to be wary of Mr. Savage's team, but instead it's going to be secondary height as the focal point. They're just getting sprayed out, though. Their builds not being allowed to fully lock through. Yuma, Grise across the way, but no! We thought those 2 eliminations that Agers just secured would be enough, but the surge threshold, they just climbed to such a high level, Jacob. They're still sitting 99 below, even with 3 eliminations. Finally, they're going to tick over into just 3 above, but it's still not enough. They can't find a footing until they get more surge.
They are just burning through materials. Even with that elimination on the Rise, they are not going to be able to get a lot of that loot. It's going to go to the wayside, and now they have to worry about their rotation, feeding them the punch. Arc Skull and Salco, they might be below the damage threshold, but Pollo, Agers, Acorn focusing on this rotation because they know it's not going to get easier. In fact, only 7 builds onto Agers. It's going to get harder and harder unless they find that key refresh.
But look at Arc School and Salco. They're a little bit beat up here. Still, Mr. Savage, Chad, Frieza, and they're immediately trying to cut straight to the front side of zone. Might have been a little bit too ambitious here, though. The lobby has taken notice. Chap, no shield, no time to recover it just yet either. Mr. Savage doesn't have any white heals to his name. They've got to just fight it out with teams directly behind them. But Chap finally getting the opportunity. He's trying to see if he can replenish just enough to really frag out here for his team. Saw it, Snowy, Ryu, though, doing a great job holding him. And Pollo stuck in the same boot.
It's not good for Braids and Visuals. They're going to get eliminated, but Pollo is going to get dropped. Agers still taking a lot of damage. They're trying to use the crash pad to get out, but just stuck in zone. They go down, and it's Queasy, it's Swizzy, and it's Mustache yet again. Not only the kings on top of the castle, but the ones lighting up the feed. Down below, a whole different ball game. Iamzo, Clicks, and Higgs, they are in the mud right now, having to figure out where they're going to go because Zone is slightly moving up over that mountain. They realize no other team is in their path. It's now or never.
But the problem is they've got Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache on height, beaming everybody underneath them. These guys are applying so much steady and consistent pressure that nobody's having a chance to look up just yet. They've spotted out a team tunneling through. It's Malibuka and Walks trying to see if they can break through from that secondary height position, but with Queasy now overtaking the front side, overtaking front side height. Now everybody else stuck underneath. This is everything for Queasy, Mustache, and Swizzy.
And just in the back pocket, you see 6 splashes, the exotic Slapberry Fizz, which heals HP, a just in case, but up goes Pixie. They're trying to go for that opportunity, but Mario says, no, 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 we need to disengage. We cannot go for it, at least not right now, but he's taking so much damage on his way down. But Swizzy, distracted for a short moment. A lot of his shields go out the window. Luckily for him, his entire trio is still there. 2,000 damage above the threshold. They won last game with 12 eliminations, and they're well on their way to do it again.
And that's the problem for everybody else in this lobby, is that Queasy, he is just tarping fully unleashed. Nobody there to stop his path. 2 of them, the best fraggers in the world by his side. And Kanata, he is down and out for the count. Bolts, Rapid, trying to see if they can secure a strong, at least break into that top 5 placement maybe. But Yamzo, Higgs, also a little bit scattered here. Yamzo's gonna fall. It's Higgs who's trying to come up big time here. Big elimination though for Higgs. Gonna buy him a little bit of a lifeline. He's doing everything he can to try and play through this backside of zone. The Siphon's still carrying him just a bit further. But Marius, Vanya, Pixie, they're looking to layer swap. They know they don't have enough, and Marius taking out the moment that he tries to chop through.
He just gets stuck. That 1 second cost him what could be an opportunity here. Pixie's just trying to make it to the front side of the zone. He's just getting cut down every step of the way, but finally reuniting with Vanya. This is their moment. They have to figure out a way to make this count. They're missing a huge chunk of HP. They're using what they can out of the med mist, but there's still a whole team on high ground and another team lurking underneath. That's Chap, Savage, and Reason. They're making every single one of these uncontested games count as Vanya's making a play, challenging for the high ground. He has it for now, but how long can he hold on to it?
Vanya doesn't even care that it's just a 2 versus 3. He still tries to take that challenge, but Swizzy immediately, not against my IGL. I've got the backup here. Swizzy taking him out. Vanya, sorry that it's a fellow gentleman,
win,
but
maybe.
it's just business, not personal. Cammy also eliminated for Stash. Now trying to see if he can take out Chap along the way, but Savage, Mr. Savage still making it work.
This is it. It's basically all EU here in the end game. Chap down below, trying to make a play. He's gonna get cut short. Reason as well. It's all to Savage, but no, the entire trio ends up back in the lobby. Swizzy has finally come down. He's ready to steal this game away. They have 12 eliminations, already matching their last game win.
Don't count out Pix, Darman, Demons, though. These guys love winning through the low ground. We've seen them do it time and time again. And Queasy with no materials. Pix also no materials. I drop lurking directly behind the team on low ground, though. And Mustache, Swizzy, they're starting to drop. They're trying to see if they can close this one out. Queasy finds a knock. Demons is out. Queasy going for the back-to-back. It is all Queasy, Mustache, and Swizzy for a Game 3 victory royale.
It's only taken 3 games
Halfway.
to get our first team with
Day
not
one.
only multiple victory royales, but the back-to-back 12 eliminations in that last
Halfway
game.
in
More
Pizza
than
Pot.
that in this game. We are
Not
looking
on
what could
a-
possibly be a
not
great
a
team in the making. Frankie, don't you
unleadable.
agree?
I really do agree. The fans
But
in
top
Leon again going
to the two.
absolutely wild for this team. Queasy coming into the Global Championships. They said that this competition was going to be owned by North America, but right now it's being owned by the High Ground Kings. How was that game? Just a complete repeat of the second.
I mean, we're just playing our game, that's it. Just playing end game, playing height, and that's it. Nothing more.
But why isn't anyone able to challenge you for that height right now? We've got huge names. In fact, in that last game, all of our top 5 trios made it to the end game, but you still came out on top.
I mean, I feel like it's the hardest of the hardest. It's hard to have a good mid game. A lot of teams are contested, so just hope we stay uncontested and we'll probably win.
You mentioned being uncontested. You may regret that. Benji, à toi.
Yeah, Swizzy, excuse me, Swizzy. Man, 3 games, 2 victory royale. What's your secret, guys? What's your secret?
Take height, don't die.
Le secret, c'est de prendre la hauteur et de pas mourir. Have you got any words for your fans, for the gentleman fans?
Jungle. That's it. Jungle.
Thank you, guys.
Mustache, What an incredible global championships for you so far. Is it all about the calls that this man is making, or is it all the chants that the M8 fans are making?
It's everything. Queasy, Agile Gold, fans, crazy, just best fans ever. Can't ask for better fans.
They're definitely proving themselves to be some of the most incredible fans in esports right now. However, we're halfway through our games today on day one in Lyon. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be evaluating everything so far.